Hello viewers, Attorney Buado here again. Welcome to the Criminal Law Jurist. This is episode 10, part 1. Article 3, How Crimes are Committed. Article 3 defines felonies as acts or omissions punishable by law. So even omitting to act may be criminal. There are two ways of committing felonies, by deceit or dolo, and by fault or culpa. Dolo is committed by deliberate intent, whereas culpa is the result of negligence, imprudence, lack of foresight, or lack of skill. For example, if a person intentionally bumps another with his car to kill him, that is dolo. But if one does not have the skill to drive, but he drove his car anyway, hitting and killing another, that is culpa. Culpa is committed if there is no intent. Intent is substituted by imprudence, negligence, lack of skill, or lack of foresight. What are the elements of dolo and culpa? The elements of dolo are intent, intelligence, and freedom. For culpa, the same, except that intent is substituted by negligence, imprudence, lack of foresight, or lack of skill, precisely because culpa is not intentional. It is the first element that changes. Intelligence and freedom are always present, whether the crime is intentional or culpable. Let us first take up the second and third elements. Intelligence concerns the ability to determine the morality of human acts, the capacity to distinguish between legal or illegal acts. For example, if in homicide the killer is insane, he has no intelligence, so he is not criminally liable, but he has to pay civil liability to the kin of the victim. That is why insanity is an exempting circumstance in Article 12. There is a crime and a criminal, but there is no criminal liability because the offender does not know what he is doing. The third element is freedom. It refers to the power to choose between two or more things without being forced by anyone to act with deliberation. Freedom and intelligence are both present, again, whether the crime be dolo or culpa. The main element of dolo is intent. It is the choice of the means used to bring about the desired result. It is a state of mind that cannot be seen, and that is why one has to look at the means used to prove intent. If one intends to kill someone, he will not use a barbecue stick to stab the victim. He will use a knife. If he used a stick, he might just intend to injure the victim. How is intent different from motive? Motive is the moving force that gives rise to the intent to do harm. For example, if Pedro eloped with the wife of Juan, the motive of Juan to harm Pedro is vengeance. But the intent is either to kill or to injure, as shown by the weapon used. And because intent cannot be seen, the law creates a presumption that when an unlawful act is done, the actor committed the act with unlawful intent. So, Juan committed an act to kill Pedro. The act of killing, like shooting or stabbing, is unlawful and therefore it is proof of criminal intent to kill. If Pedro died, the intent to kill is conclusively presumed because of the presumption that the commission of an unlawful act means that the offender or Juan intended to kill Pedro. It is a presumption of law, and that is why it is necessary because intent cannot be seen. If Pedro survived, there is still a presumption that Juan has a criminal intent, but there is a need to determine whether it is intent to kill or intent to injure. In other words, when the act is equivocal, there is a need to prove what really is the intended crime. What about the doctrine of actus non facit reum nisi mensit rea, which means the act is not criminal if the mind is not criminal. Mens rea is criminal mind. The act may be criminal, but it does not always result to a crime. The act must be accompanied by criminal intent, unless it is culpa or mala prohibita, both of which are crimes without intent. An actual case: a widow forged the signature of her husband on the check representing his separation pay so that she can bury the husband. Did she commit a crime? No, because her mind is not criminal, although normally her act of forgery is a crime of falsification. The Supreme Court said that in the end, the agency will just have to replace the check. Meanwhile, she has to bury the husband. Her mind was not criminal when she forged the check. So, there you have it. In the next episode, we will discuss more fully about culpa.